Okay.
All of my gay skeletons are out of the proverbial gay closet.
All of my gay skeletons are gay.
Now that we cleared that up. I am recording now.
Fabulous.
Oh no!
Hello everyone, welcome to Nerdly Kingdom, where a few of us geeks of various degrees rant about whatever we feel like. I am Brad, aka Toto McGillicuddy.
I'm Lori, aka Loriarty.
I'm William, aka the Dude.
I just want to point out, I almost said my screen name and forgot my real name just then.
I almost half expected William to go, I'm William, aka William.
He's the William Bell.
But I thought about it, but I was like...
I was going to call this whole thing William Bell's Nerdly Kingdom, because before we get into anything, he really is the king of the nerds, even though he doesn't deserve that at all. Because that one time we went LARPing, and he ended up being the leader of the team, and like we were getting ready to fight, and he gave a Spartan-esque speech, and he's like, "Let's do this for blah blah." I can't remember. He's like, "For the kingdom, for whatever, for William," and our team just runs and going, "Ah!" and scared the other team shitless. It was the best thing I've ever. It was never the same after he wasn't there.
And that was how I became king.
I think
King of the playground.
King of the playground. That's true. That's how I became king of the playground.
Anyways, that is not why we started this. First of all, before we get into anything,
a fun little.
Anyone want to talk about anything?
Also, really quick, you may have to edit a little bit because I keep coughing.
Nah, that's fine. I can get it. Anyone want to talk about anything random before we get into the stuff that's gonna end up we're gonna rant about all day?
Anyone want to skim the surface before we get into the gooey bits?
I watched episode 1 of The Punisher.
Yeah,
and
like first 10 minutes in, I'm already like, I'm sold. I'm done.
Amazing.
It's great.
This guy gets his face bashed in with a sledgehammer.
It doesn't even matter. Like the very first scene is like him going, "Oh man," and then he like shoots some bikers and runs them over. It's
a rad show.
I know. I want them to run him over, but they're not going to do that in the show. And then they did it. It's like, yes, go watch this show. Gratuitous violence, but done in a artful way. I think actually.
I like the angle they're going at with exploring his psyche a little more. Like, it kind of pained me a little bit watching the first episode because it really revolved a lot around his post-life.
It's really emotional.
It's very emotional, but the
Fist.
Violence is fucking rad.
There's really not even that many fight scenes, but the ones that are there are so well done that you remember them, unlike a certain DC movie.
Like at the very end, there's a scene where... he's going after this mob under this restaurant because there's a card game. And the whole scene...
Spoilers, I guess.
...is lit by gunfire. It's in a dark room, and the only light is from the gunfire. Oh, yeah. And it's so cool.
I haven't seen it yet, but I really do intend to watch it. I have to catch up on so much of the Marvel Netflix, because the only one that I've seen all the way through is season 1 of Jessica Jones. Ooh. Then I've seen a few episodes of Daredevil. And I know I should watch more Daredevil.
Daredevil's the only one.
I love your Daredevil shirt.
I've watched both seasons of Daredevil, and I watched the first half of Jessica Jones.
I've watched like 2 episodes of Iron Fist.
This shirt was actually the start of my nerd shirt. Like before this, I didn't have any nerd shirts, and it just cascaded from there.
Man, I can't even remember what my first. I can't even remember.
Every time I see a Nirvana shirt, I buy it.
Of course you do.
I love the first season of Daredevil. Jessica Jones was so intense, I couldn't watch it, and I got someone to tell me what happened. I couldn't make it through. That's not a bad thing. It's good. It was just so good at what it was doing, I couldn't handle it.
I loved it because Kilgrave, while he had a superpower, he was very much like that standard scary guy that you don't want to mess with. Like that, why don't you smile more and everything, except he had the power to...
He was that horrible person, just to the extreme.
And everyone... go ahead.
That's the thing about his character, Purple Man, is that...
Purple Man?
In the I haven't really ever read a comic with Purple Man in it, but knowing his character beforehand and thinking, oh, that's kind of silly, you know? But actually, seeing the direction they took his character, I thought was really cool.
You mean rapey?
Well, and see...
Well, I think rape's cool. No. No.
Oh, my God.
I'm just going to edit out you saying no to that and just...
I think Coolsville sucks. It's just that the angle they took with him, it was such a weird and intense angle. I would have never thought of it, I think.
And it's like, I feel people are so used to seeing David Tennant as the Doctor. I know he was in Harry Potter, but he wasn't in it for like a really long time. But people are so used to seeing him as the Doctor in Doctor Who. David Tennant can play creepy. It's like everyone was freaking out about it, and I'm like,
no, he can do it.
I watched a British movie called Secret Smile, or it may have been like a mini series, and everything, and it was literally Kilgrave's character without the superpowers, and I honestly had to stop watching Doctor Who for a little bit just because David Tennant's character scared me so much. So the second he did it, and I was like, I don't know if he can play a villain. I'm like, oh, he can play a villain, you guys. He's got this. He's down.
Very versatile actor.
But then you had Daredevil Season 2, which I loved just as much. Honestly, I really had never thought Kingpin was that great of a villain until the guy that does it is just, I can't remember his name. I'm so bad with actors.
Vincent?
He's just so good. I don't know. You haven't seen Season 1 of Daredevil?
I can't remember how to pronounce it.
I've seen a bit of Season 1.
There's two things I really love about the season. One is like when you first encounter Kingpin, Daredevil's like, I'm gonna kill you, and Kingpin's just like, go, or like do it or try or something like that. And then when Daredevil kind of realizes he's not immortal and the Kingpin's starting to lose, it just reverses roles, and Kingpin's saying, I'm gonna kill you, and Daredevil just shoots that line right back at him. He's like, I like to see you try. And it's just beautiful. And that one speech, if you haven't seen Season 1 of Daredevil, you should have already seen it.
I mean, yeah.
Yeah, the Ill Intent, that speech. You know, he gives the Good Samaritan speech. Mm-hmm. Like the Good Samaritan Bible story. You know, this guy was in a ditch. Some guy tried to help him. Some other guy tried to help him. Some other guy tried to help him. Then a Good Samaritan came by and he helped him. And he was like, I used to think I was the Good Samaritan in that story. I was the one helping people. But I wasn't, because in the story it's like there's people of ill intent are the one that robbed him and people aren't helping him. It's like I thought I was the Good Samaritan, but no, I am the ill intent. I am the bad guy in this story, and he's just so epic. And then just crap hits the fan, and it was just the pacing of that was just perfect.
Oh, little Tristan Thorne all grown up.
Oh, and then I loved Luke Cage. A lot of people didn't. I thought it was great.
I've seen Luke Cage.
I haven't seen it, and I'm shocked by that because, oh my god, I love Luke Cage
binge
so
watched
much.
It.
Jessica
like
Jones.
I literally couldn't stop watching it. Like I just kept going. I missed sleep. I didn't sleep in between working days because I was watching that show. And then Iron Fist, I never finished. I just got bored. I forgot to finish it.
Did you watch The Defenders?
No.
I haven't either.
I just haven't heard good things, and that's not why I haven't watched it. I just kind of forgot. But all that leading to Punisher, yes, right from the beginning, I loved it. You can't see the hand gestures I'm doing, but I don't know what they mean anyways, but they're good.
The guillotine.
Guillotine. You've got to see it. I love the Punisher. That was a really, really long way of saying that. But yes, I haven't finished the Punisher and I already love it. Because the Punisher, even in Daredevil Season 2, the Punisher was great. Mm-hmm. And I love the actor that does it. The only thing I knew him from before was
John
Walking Dead. Yeah, I know. I really got to learn actors' names. I'm so bad at this. It's like the dude
that's
in the
why,
stuff.
That's why we have William.
The only reason you're here.
William's like walking IMDb.
I only invited you so you could
like he's literally walking
give you actor
IMDb.
names and let you know who's who and what they're in.
And what other movies he's been in. Yeah.
I hope us talking over each other doesn't make this too bad.
I can't do math for shit, but I can tell you who that is in the background of that one movie.
I can't do math for shit or do that.
Oh.
You know what I can do? I can bring the mic to the table. That's what I can do.
Literally to the table.
I'm the only one that's willing to actually mess with the post.
I feel like that's almost a perfect segue into other MCU stuff. Cough, cough, Ragnarok.
Oh yeah. Yeah, let's do that. Let's
Ragnarok came out before Justice League.
We got several things to talk about.
Stop hitting the table.
Aw, shit.
I'm sorry. This whole thing Ragnarok needs to be talked about because it's not like it's that old.
We need Punisher, Ragnarok, Justice League.
We need another Thor. Thor 4, where every part is played by Jeff Goldblum.
Thor 4,
Jeff Goldblum
more
edition.
Floor.
Thor.
I'm not sure that landed as well as you think it might have.
It didn't. But
I don't know if y'all saw this or not, but Taika Waititi posted this picture on Instagram. That was the Justice League poster that says, you can't save the world alone. And the and world, the TH and the OR kind of lined up. And he photoshopped it out and put that on Instagram in his Justice League review.
Oh my god.
And it was really funny. I laughed.
He's so weird. You've got to see What We Do in the Shadows.
Oh, that's on Amazon.
Is it? Because it's done by him, and he plays the main vampire, and it's a mockumentary of vampires living.
It's like
the funniest thing I've ever seen.
I've read the summary of it, and I really wanted to watch it.
To sum up the whole thing, there's werewolves in it, and he's making a sequel called We're Wolves. Like that just kind of sums up the feel of the whole thing.
I love a good pun.
I love the werewolves in that. He's like, yo, why don't you guys go smell your own butts? I mean, we don't smell our own butts. We smell each other's butts as a form of... Dude, shut up. What?
He's...
I don't know why, but at the end when they're chaining themselves up to the tree, Rhys Darby...
We're still talking about Working in the Shadows.
When he's yelling at them to chain themselves up, his dialogue in that scene is probably the funniest dialogue I've ever heard.
Look at you! You've worn jeans! You're gonna get bigger, you're gonna rip them!
I love that actor so much.
How that did not become like some sort of like Easter egg quote
up,
in Thor 3 with the Hulk.
Because he did everything else. Like the recreating a scene from Willy Wonka in Thor. Oh wait, that was the weirdest thing I've ever seen, and it was great.
See, that was the fun thing about that scene. I didn't pick up on the Willy Wonka
reference.
I did like immediately.
And Jacob did though, and he pointed it out to me after the movie, and I was like, "What are you talking about?"
Because it even played the Willy Wonka music.
Yeah.
I wasn't really paying attention to the music though.
I can play that song with a saxophone. I know that song.
I was listening to dialogue. I
know the words of that song. I can sing it right now.
But
I love, like, you know, a lot of people said the
just sneezed all over your arm.
Because, you know, they say, 80% of that movie was improv, and a lot of people didn't like because they said it changed the pacing. I think it worked okay. I also found out the line, he's a friend from work, was actually given to them by a kid, like a Make-A-Wish Foundation when he visited the set.
Right.
Oh,
and, like, it's a great line. Also, I heard someone say this, and this is sort of related. The best thing they could have done with this movie was not have had the Hulk in the trailers. Can you imagine what that would have been like in that movie theater if they had done that?
And then Hulk be a prominent
I would have
character.
exploded because you didn't need Hulk in the trailer to go see it.
Because really the only part of the Hulk in the trailer was him busting through the thing and Thor going,
he's a friend from work. Yeah. If they hadn't put that in, that would have been the best movie ever.
Just had that bus thing and then just end.
Like, you know, not be like any BBC show. It's like, next week on BBC.
Here's the entire episode.
Jacob forgot about that when we went and saw it. So when it actually happened, it genuinely surprised him.
I
heard that, no, that's not right. Mark Ruffalo. I almost said Mark Wahlberg. You stay out of my Marvel movies.
Mark.
Let's not get into that yet.
Good vibration.
I heard that, Mark Ruffalo only filmed for like 30 minutes in the new movie, so I'm assuming he's going to be Hulk for a large portion of it.
In Infinity War?
Yeah.
I'm almost okay with that.
I said 30 minutes. I meant 30 days. 30 hours? 30 something.
30 minutes.
Not for long.
Mark Ruffalo talked very quickly. You guys.
2 lines.
Okay.
I'm a massive, massive Mark Ruffalo fan. I love the Ruffles. I'm a very big fangirl.
Does he do his own, motion capture?
What?
Does he do his own motion capture for the Hulk?
Yes.
It really, because it kind of shows. But
it's like, I love him to death. But talking Hulk trumped Mark Ruffalo scenes, like,
it's because it's just Mark Ruffalo way out of character and doing it really well.
Everything that the Hulk did was just so great.
I know nothing about actual Marvel comic stuff except for cartoons. And in the cartoon that's on Netflix, the Hulk, he can't change back. He's just always the Hulk and he talks all the time.
Well, see,
but he's like both at the same time.
Most of my Marvel knowledge is going to come from the MCU and from people who talk to me about non-MCU stuff, and I just absorb it.
I've watched very little.
Yeah, William.
I know very little of the Marvel universe except for I had a Marvel encyclopedia and I absorbed that, and so I remember a lot of stuff.
We had
but
the same Marvel encyclopedias.
Yeah, and then I think mine got destroyed with you getting hit over the head with it, if I'm not mistaken.
I believe you're right about that.
But, yeah, that was a long tangent. We're bad at this.
No, we're really not.
But I love that. Like, I actually, when I ask people what they thought of Justice League, my scale is from Green Lantern to Thor Ragnarok. How did you rate this movie?
Oh, no. Come on. Like,
Thor Ragnarok, I think, no, for me, Thor Ragnarok is the top. Because it was both serious and funny, and it melded those so perfectly. Like, it didn't feel like it was forcing one or the other.
And
that's
see,
really hard.
I've actually
did a lot better than Guardians of the Galaxy 2 did.
Yeah,
they were trying too hard to make it like the first.
But it's like a few people have mentioned they're not a big fan of Thor being funny. And what really got me about that, though, and I get it, it's like Thor's been really kind of more of this serious character and everything, but the humor that they gave Thor really showed, it was like developed, and the humor felt like something Thor would have done, because he's been with the Avengers, he's met Tony Stark.
Because even the first scene, when he's like on the change, he's like, hold on a second, I'm not even doing this. It wasn't even him being a joke. It was him mocking the person that was about to kill him. Yeah. And that's very Thor.
Oh my god, but the movie started with the Emperor's New Groove thing. And because that's all I could think of. You probably are wondering how I ended up.
I thought it was really weird he was narrating the first.
I was physically waiting for that scene where Loki as Odin was watching the play and it just to freeze and Thor go, excuse me, this movie's not about him.
Andrew got so excited because
surprise Matt Damon.
I didn't even
Matt Damon played Loki. Because, Matt Damon also played Loki in Dogma.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And so, I don't know if that's the same connection or not, but it was funny. And then,
I just think Matt Damon is putting his face
I don't know. Didn't Little Thor play Thor?
No, it was, the other brother, Luke.
Oh, yeah, you're right. Yeah, I was in the right area.
And Sam Neill as
brothers, I get confused. All the
Hemsworth boys.
All the Hemsworths and the Skarsgårds.
There's 3 Hemsworths.
Oh, now see the Skarsgårds.
There's 4 Skarsgårds, I believe. There's 3 Wilsons.
Wilson?
But
Andrew
the
Wilson,
Skarsgårds,
Owen Wilson, and Luke Wilson.
The Skarsgård's dad is also an actor.
And
because he's
another
Celtic.
one too.
And then names, man. Jurassic Park dude.
Chris Pratt.
No.
Sam Neill?
Higher. Played Odin.
Sam Neill.
Yeah.
Higher.
I
I'm
just
gonna
said that.
fight you. What?
No, like older. The older.
Oh, the original.
He played Odin in that play. If you noticed, like, it was a really weird, like, I was like...
My mom pointed that out to me, and I was like, what?
The funny
Apparently, I just noticed none
He's Merlin.
of those. I noticed none of those cameos in that thing.
I didn't realize this at first, but someone on Reddit mentioned that the choir that's singing during the play scene is singing the actual soundtrack from that scene in the second movie.
Oh, my God.
I thought that was a nice little layer of humor.
There's so much we could talk about. Jeff Goldblum just playing... Space Jeff Goldblum, kind of like how on Guardians of the Galaxy he's like it was just Space Merle. If you ever watch, because like that is his character in Walking Dead, the Blue.
I think that's just Michael Rooker.
And that's nothing. What I've heard, that's nothing like the character in the comics.
No, because that was weird for me when I saw Guardians of the Galaxy.
It works so well.
Was how they completely changed Yondu's character, but it did work. I really
and especially it works so well to see that character. And then in the second one, figure out why he was that way, and it just when the ending happened the way it happened. I'm spoiling,
and I cried.
I won't spoil that, but I'll spoil like
newer stuff. Months people have seen.
Yeah,
but it's just
there's spoilers in this podcast.
It's just spoilers, people.
It's so hard. We're so what's the word I'm looking for? Desensitized to character deaths. Because we're like either
we didn't.
They'll either like they're gonna come back.
Infinity Stone.
Yeah, it's like either they're gonna come, they're gonna come back, or like we didn't have 8 movies to get attached to this character. Yeah. So
having a character
Coulson dying should not have been as heartfelt as it was, but oh my gosh, I was so sad.
Okay, I still cry at like all character deaths. But I cry at everything, so I don't really count.
Quicksilver's, he wasn't in the movie enough for anyone to care.
That hurt me.
If you had cut the weird Hulk Black Widow thing down and put in Hawkeye teaching his pupils the way it's supposed to be, it would have been great, and they just didn't do it. And I'm assuming he died.
I feel if they took out the whole Hawkeye, here's my secret family and everything, and just had, because there was really this whole thing of Hawkeye taking in Scarlet. I liked Hawkeye's farm.
You should have focused more on the dynamics of him and the other characters than him and people you're never going to see again.
Yeah, but it's like...
I feel that.
I feel if they had done away with that kind of relationship that he had with the Scarlet Witch and Quicksilver.
Good talk about Thor, guys.
Hey, don't judge us.
But what I was saying is like Yondu's death was just so like you just felt it so hard, like because they just I don't know what it is, but like you hated this character and somehow they turned that hate into you understanding why he's that way.
I never hated Yondu.
Well, I say hate, but like you're not like, oh man, he's such a great dude, and that's exactly what you thought when he died. Yeah, he's such a stand-up guy.
He's an upright gentleman.
It's like we didn't eat you,
blue bastard.
But how did Thor tie into that? I can't remember how I did that.
I mentioned the humor of Guardians of the Galaxy.
Oh yeah, I guess. But
I liked the
humor. I thought it worked.
The only problem I had with that was I feel like they flanderized Drax a bit, which I thought was weird coming off of immediately following the first movie. Drax feels almost like a caricature of himself. Yeah. As opposed to the first movie. And that's kind of the only problem
I think that was intentional.
And there was a bunch of jokes in that movie
I think that was intentional because it was supposed to be he's been around them for so long. Yeah. I just don't think they pulled it off as well as they could have. But there's only so much you can do in a movie, which is something some certain DC movie that just came out could probably learn from.
Someone's bitter.
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh, SpaghettiOs.
I'm not bitter.
Uh-oh, ravioli.
Whoops, ravioli.
Ripperoni. But, okay.
Is this our segue into certain DC movie?
No, not yet. I want to talk about a few random things. Have you ever played the Injustice game? I'm going to assume you haven't. The fighting game?
I don't have a game system, so...
Did you hear who they announced for the new characters in that?
No.
The Ninja Turtles.
Really?
The Ninja Turtles.
That's cool.
You got, oh man, DC Universe plus Ninja Turtles.
DC Universe versus the Ninja Turtles.
Granted, I remember like the old Soul Calibur that had a different one for each thing. It was like Hihachi for PlayStation. No, I think that was a different... It was, and Hihachi was in it, but...
It was different for each console.
Yeah, but there was one where it was like Darth Vader and Yoda.
Yeah. And they marketed it with that, and I thought it was weird.
Yeah.
That was when Soul Calibur kind of started.
It's fine to have the weird joke characters, and Hihachi kind of fit into the Soul Calibur universe if you try to pretend that he's not from the Tekken universe. But like when they have ones with Link and Yoda and Darth Vader, and they're like, they try to work that into the story. It's like, no! Just don't acknowledge them actually being there, and it's fine. But it's really weird. You're like, oh, we're in this fantasy world with evil swords, and then Darth Vader comes in with a lightsaber. Like, it doesn't make sense.
What would you think about, since Disney's acquired Lucasfilm, the idea of a Star Wars universe popping up in Kingdom Hearts?
I almost feel like
I'm so sick of Kingdom Hearts. Like, I love the first one. I love the second one. I actually really like Chain of Memories. But they're like, oh, you don't have to play the offshoot games. Yes, you do. Yes, you do. In Kingdom Hearts 1 and Kingdom Hearts 2, 2 picks up directly off of the Game Boy version. You have to play the other versions.
You done it.
Yeah, well, I mean, there's like a PSP version and the mobile game version. Like,
that's why I didn't
what is the new version of Kingdom Hearts that's like all together? Kingdom Hearts 1.257
Remix HD.
And they have stereo. They have some of the games. Knuckles. Some of the like it's all the games put together, but it's not even all the games. Like some of them are just you watch a movie of what happened in that game because it's that important to the story. I'm sick of it. I don't care. They can do whatever they want. They can take their Star Wars universe and just shove it up the butthole of Kingdom Hearts. Like you can just. No, I'm not gonna.
Shove it right up there.
Brad. I have hairnets everywhere, man. I just don't take them off when I get off work. Anyways. Also, another thing. Did you know I think they finally greenlit it. Amazon is doing a Lord of the Rings prequel show.
Yeah, I read about that and then immediately decided I was gonna forget about it forever. I don't know. I don't know about that.
It can't possibly do critically worse than The Hobbit did. I love The Hobbit, but
I was gonna say I like
The main problem with people not liking The Hobbit is I don't think they realize what they were about to watch. I think they're like, oh man, he did Lord of the Rings, now he's doing The Hobbit, and The Hobbit's a completely different type of story, and you really shouldn't expect that.
I felt like what they did.
I'm not saying it was a masterpiece, but.
It was a lot different from the book, but I feel like he got the tone right.
It really wasn't that different from the book.
I wouldn't say. That's what I'm gonna say. Tonally, it's not that different from the book.
No, I don't feel like they did the dwarves.
And that's kind of what I liked
I was reading the book as I watched the movies. I watched the first 2 movies, and then I read the book.
Hold on.
Look at Lord of the Rings, and you have a very gritty and realistic looking.
Yeah, which is the way the book kind of was.
And when I watched The Hobbit and using that idea of that lighthearted, fun adventure tone, I couldn't really imagine the film if it picked up the same aesthetic of Lord of the Rings.
Yeah, there's no point because like the critical point of Lord of the Rings is like the I forget what the meeting's called. I don't know them at the meeting saying we're gonna destroy the ring or the world's gonna end. The major plot point of The Hobbit was, I'm going on an adventure! Those are 2 completely different things, and you should not try to compare them in the same way.
Just for a note, while they are talking and discussing, I would like to point out the fact that Brad did the full animation for that, throwing his hands up in the air and everything.
Which is not what he did in the movie, but he did
Which is totally not what he did in the movie, but apparently it's what Brad chose to do.
I can totally see why
a lot of people I know that didn't like the movie didn't like it because of that it didn't have the same aesthetic.
It just would have been awful.
And I don't think it would have been awful. It just would have been weird because if you look at Guillermo del Toro's original sketch. And,
I do not want him doing that. I love him. I do not want him anywhere near my Hobbit.
And it's very dark and creature design you'd expect from Guillermo del Toro.
And when the Hobbit was at its core lighthearted. Like there are so many musical numbers in that book. It's ridiculous. Like the movie doesn't do it.
Lord of the Rings
that is not even a fraction of the the part where they're all in the trees and the orcs are surrounding them and burning them down. There's a song there. I know all the words to it right now because I've watched the animated version and all the songs are in that one. And the Goblin Town thing, they had the big goblin singing it, but they didn't have the goblins singing about how they were going to dismember them as they were taking them. But it's a really, really weird book, and a lot of people get mad.
What I like about the extended edition is that the extended edition puts the song in the movie.
Does it?
I really like it. Yeah.
I'm off subject again. That's all I got as far as.
How did we get to the Hobbit?
Lord of the Rings.
I'll say this for being films that were being designed as they were being filmed, it wasn't bad.
Yeah, I agree. It's not something I'd be like, it's a really great movie, but I'd be like, hey, this is a really fun movie to watch.
Yeah, watching the...
I would never say that about Lord of the Rings.
Watching the appendices for The Hobbit and watching the whole production process behind the scenes really kind of gives you a better appreciation for the movie. Once you realize just how much shit Peter Jackson had to go through.
I know. And you have to appreciate The Hobbit, because as far as I'm aware, The Hobbit is one of the first movies that did 3D right. Like, we saw that movie. And the high definition 3D.
God, it was so
It was also one of the first movies that ruined cinema forever with high frame rates.
It was gorgeous. Like it looked like a big Martin Freeman was just standing right there in front of us. It was great.
I'm
felt
glad
more
they
like
didn't.
A stage
I could see his pimples.
Play.
I'm glad that high frame rate didn't take off the way they wanted it to.
I am too.
I didn't like it. However, I'm not sure if this is a thing anymore. I think James Cameron said he was using high frame rate 3D for the 800 Avengers, the 800 Avatar sequels.
I don't care about James Cameron at
I think
all.
there are certain movies that could definitely benefit from high frame rate things.
Avatar's not one of them. Avatar could benefit from not being in theaters
Avatar will definitely benefit from the high frame rates, and it will not be enough to save that movie.
What kills me is I feel Avatar was super, super hyped because it was really that pinnacle of real D. Like it really, but no, I mean it was that first movie that was like, look, we filmed it to be in 3D, and it was just this huge gimmick that no one had ever done before, and everyone was super excited.
It worked.
I got caught up in the hype because I love gimmicks and da-da-da. And then it just got shoved like into the ground. Like we're bringing it back into theaters, and I'm like, I don't care.
Here's the thing, like as a movie on its own,
it's Pocahontas.
I was gonna say Space Pocahontas isn't bad, but it is not worth what people are making it out to be.
Yeah, it's not like some cinematic masterpiece. It's blue people on
I would
the
actually
planet.
say, honestly, one of the biggest cinematic masterpieces, at least as far as like advancing the way movies are done, is going to be Lord of the Rings. I'm not a huge fan of Lord of the Rings, but like I don't know.
I was trying my hardest to pick some random stupid movie to interrupt you with. I was gonna be like Justin Bieber in 3D, and then I'm like, oh, I just threw up in my mouth.
The cinematic achievement of
Lord of the Rings,
this entire generation, is The Room.
I haven't seen The Room, and I'm not getting into that.
I'm really wanting to see The Room. I've already talked with William about this because I definitely want to see The Room before The Disaster Artist comes out because that trailer kills me.
Oh man, what was that movie?
Oh hi, Mark.
You just said Disaster Artist.
Oh hi, Mark.
I heard that Geostorm was just god awful.
Well, duh.
Yeah, but no, even worse than you'd expect.
Other than
I'm like, is this going to be the end of disaster porn? Besides Transformers.
I hope so.
Oh Lord, you said the T word.
Oh, I'm gonna say it again later.
Triggered.
You just.
Holy
triggered.
Shit.
And on
Transformers is my trigger word.
Well, before we get into that, let's jump into
Okay, let's talk
stuff
about
that's already out and not coming out.
That confused me there. You totally just like blew my mind there for a second because I heard that sentence totally backwards. The Justice League movie.
The Justice League.
The return of pacifist Batman. Like, so pacifist he doesn't even arrest criminals. Like, that was the weirdest thing to me.
Justice League.
Ignored that criminal on the rooftop.
See, I don't know what I was thinking from that, because like the second that I saw that, I was like, oh, maybe he was working with a guy and it was all a gimmick. And then
I was so expecting him to just, like, without saying a word, like, turn around and shoot his net gun at him.
By the way, you're
like,
under arrest.
Huh?
That was a Whedon scene.
I could believe it.
I hate that scene.
I forgot about that.
I'm gonna say really quickly that Justice League is my second favorite DC movie, second to Wonder Woman.
That's true.
The issue is second place for a DC movie. The bar is so low that it literally could have just been Wonder Woman and Jason.
Track record.
Before we get into that, I want to state that I have not seen Suicide Squad.
Neither have I.
I have not seen Man of Steel.
Oh,
I have not seen. I've heard it good. I really like the direction they went in.
Did you not go see Man of Steel with us? Because one, I had to go on my birthday. I had to pay for my own ticket, and the movie sucked.
No,
thanks, Movie Pass.
You guys got back.
Sponsor.
You guys, as with most things, you guys got back. And like, it's like, why didn't you go? It's like, no one asked me. We thought you had to work. You still didn't ask me. That's happened so often to me.
You just feel lucky you didn't go.
No,
that movie.
From what I've heard, because I hate Superman. I don't hate Superman, but I'm not a big fan of Superman.
I still remember.
And I actually like the direction they went in.
Having a big serious conversation in the middle of Walmart about you not liking Superman back in like 2012.
We're getting off subject. I haven't seen Suicide Squad, Man of Steel, Batman vs Superman.
I saw Batman.
If you're gonna watch Batman
Suicide
Squad
Superman, had so much potential from what I've heard what it was supposed to be. Yeah, that's the thing. Is like if you have to watch the extended version of something for it to make sense, you screwed up. Like that's not how movies work. You go to the movies to understand the movie, not to be like, man, that would probably make sense.
$30 to unlock.
Oh no, EA's running the movie business.
But no.
So my point was, take everything I say with kind of a grain of salt, because I really have no idea what I'm talking about. That being said,
I feel
exactly Suicide Squad could have had potential, but it was hyped weird.
Girls at home, but not really because it's all subjective.
From what I've heard of, I'm gonna just go down my list because this is in no order of just things I'm remembering.
Okay.
Like Batman was like full on like let's kill Superman. Like what made him decide from the end of that movie to the beginning of this movie to be like we need Superman?
Okay.
Like,
I'll explain everything that happens. Batman's entire character arc in Batman vs. Superman is that he's kind of losing his humanity because of Superman. He sees Superman immediately as a threat. Because,
talking is going to be nothing but
the end of Man of Steel, at the end of Man of Steel, you have Superman and Zod more or less leveling Metropolis during their fight. And Batman vs. Superman picks up during that scene, but shows it from Bruce Wayne's perspective, on the ground. He's seeing buildings crumble. He's seeing people die. And so Bruce Wayne has nothing but, what's the word I'm looking for? It's just...
Content? No, that's wrong.
Content.
Bad feelings.
Towards Superman. And sees him as a threat. And that mentality of just, I have to stop Superman at all costs is what drives Bruce Wayne throughout Batman vs. Superman to want to kill Superman. And you get a lot of sense, because in this universe, Bruce Wayne has been Batman for a little over 20 years. This is an older Bruce Wayne. He's seen it all. He's gone through all this shit. And he's like, I gotta kill Superman. And he finally fights Superman. And this is everyone gets triggered over this shit. He fights Superman. He makes a spear out of kryptonite. And right as he's about to kill... Okay, what happens? Lex Luthor is holding Martha Kent hostage. And pretty much makes Superman fight Batman. Unless there's like, if you don't kill Batman in an hour, I'm killing your mother. And so, Superman, the whole fight scene, Superman's trying to talk to Batman. And be like, we don't have to fight. We can talk about this. And Batman's like throwing fucking kryptonite bombs at Superman. And like, oh, I'm gonna make you bleed and all this shit. Okay. So Batman's got the kryptonite spear, and then Superman's like, "You're letting him kill Martha." And Bruce Wayne hears
Martha.
And Bruce Wayne hears Martha, And in this universe, Thomas Wayne's last words were Martha. And so Batman has this moment of reflection where he thinks back to his parents' death, and he's just kind of like realizing he's about to kill Superman, and he's pretty much done the one thing he doesn't want to do, the one thing he pretty much became Batman for, and he's like, oh, why did you say that name? And he gets all pissy. But also, Lois Lane shows up, and it's like, it's his mother's name. And then Batman's like, oh, he's got a mom. He's a human. He's not some weird, random, super strong alien.
Well, I mean, he is.
And he is, but... And then Bruce Wayne was like, oh, I've been the monster this whole time. Batman's more or less the villain of Batman vs. Superman. And then after that, Lex Luthor creates Doomsday, and it's like, oh, I'm gonna kill you, Superman, because fuck you. And Batman...
Wonder Woman appears out of nowhere.
And Batman, Superman, awesome. And Wonder Woman have to fight Doomsday. Superman sacrifices himself. Batman feels guilty for it.
And how does Superman sacrifice himself?
He gets impaled by Doomsday. Oh. They use the kryptonite spear to kill Doomsday, and Superman and Doomsday fucking stab each other in the chest.
So, like, Batman couldn't have just picked up the spear that he wasn't allergic to? And Superman not
Batman spent this entire fight grapple hooking around and going, good job, guys.
Being like, I'm Batman.
You mean like the Justice League?
Yeah, pretty much. Anytime big monsters show up,
Batman's the micromanager of the... He's like, Daredevil. He's the Daredevil of the DC universe.
Okay, now that I've spent...
little things while
he delegates.
Now that I've spent a billion hours talking about Batman's story arc throughout Batman vs. Superman, that's where Batman's whole, we need Superman back.
Because it just seems like a really big switch to me, but I also thought that, like...
Well, that's what happens when you bring in a stupid director to reshoot fucking 60% of your movie.
I think they try to explain it like the Wolfie Boy said it, like the world has gotten dark since Superman's been gone, and that's what Batman's seen, is the world like
as
losing,
if the DC universe hasn't been dark the whole time.
Yeah, I know. They tried to go with that whole dark thing, and it could have worked if they knew what they were doing. I say that, I haven't seen the movies.
Well, like I said, we'll never know what Snyder's original vision for that movie would be.
Okay, it's like, so you have Cyborg, right? And he's made from the mother boxes. That's how much I don't remember this movie. He's made from the mother boxes, and he's like this weird, like can't control his shape, like chaotic kind of thing. Mm-hmm. So you're telling me in the DC universe, Cyborg was made by the damn cube from Transformers? That's where they went? Like, that works so well in the Transformer universe. We're going to put it in our movie, too?
Cyborg
that shit didn't work well in Transformers, and you know it. Transformers is nothing but bullshit.
I mean, it worked kind of good with him. My only complaint with Cyborg is, like, you were made from this evil box, and you're going to be evil. You're a creature of chaos. You'll see it. And he had the chance when he was taking over the cube, that chance for it, him trying to fight what he actually is made out of, and they just didn't touch it. They just led you into this point and be like, oh, yeah, we forgot about that. Oh, well.
That's a good point. You bring that up. I didn't think about that.
Like, I was so waiting for him to, like, turn on him. And it's like, for all I know, that scene got cut. Like, there's so much stuff that got cut. But we still had a 10-minute conversation of no-lip Superman talking to these kids. That bugs me so much.
I was trying to see the CGI, but then again,
that's the only time I saw it.
I was, like, looking at his chin and not his lip. I don't know what I was doing.
I never really
was that opening scene necessary? Did they really need to reshoot and spend all the money on CGI just for him to have
that was a completely new Whedon scene.
It was so pointless.
You've been Whedonized.
And I don't know if I don't know if you were there when we were talking about it in there, but like I'm just randomly spouting out stuff I have wrong with this movie, and I'm about to say how much I like this movie, but right now I'm going to talk about what.
It's okay to like a movie and still talk shit.
It's just little things like Wonder Woman's opening scene, which was fantastic. Also, the jump from Wonder Woman movie to Wonder Woman now is like not even the same. I get she had like 8 billion years, and she had like what 60, 70, 80 years to hone her powers, but she went from like I have God blood in me to being I'm a god, deal with it.
It's been more years than that because she was World War I, not World War II.
Oh, you're right. You're absolutely right.
So, yeah.
It's just she went from like being able to like click her wrist and blow up to like I can crab walk while dodging bullets. Like
that's because Wonder Woman can do anything.
But she stops that bomb.
Times.
He's like, this bomb is gonna blow up 4 city blocks, and she's like, oh, I'll throw it 10 feet in the air. That won't blow everything up, and it doesn't. That's not how bombs work. They all still would have been dead.
Okay, I'm not gonna lie. When he opened it up at first, I thought that he had a suitcase of bread. And I was like, breadsticks. And then I was like, oh, I'm an idiot.
Man, that gluten gonna kill you.
Yeah, I'm gonna kill you with all that gluten.
But I actually kind of hated it because it really added nothing to the movie.
I kind of feel that way too.
Anytime Wonder Woman's like, on screen, it's adding something to the movie.
I think that's the only reason they put it in is because everyone loved Wonder Woman.
Well, it's the only profitable movie,
get that, but
good movie.
If they were gonna have an intro scene, it should have been an intro scene of a character we hadn't seen yet. Because that's really where this movie struggled. Because which originally they had a scene in Snyder's version that got cut, which was Barry Barry saving Iris West, I believe her name is, his love interest. Oh, that would be good. From a car accident, I think. And that was a scene that got cut.
I loved Flash.
There's some people that really didn't like Flash in this, but I think he was perfect.
I'm not even gonna lie. I am shocked whenever you said in our group chat that you liked Flash, because I know your hatred for Spider-Man. And I felt, it's like, I really feel like Flash's character and Spider-Man's character are kind of similar. And
understand my hatred for Spider-Man. Spider-Man was my favorite superhero growing up. And Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man was so bad, it's now my least favorite.
Man,
it's got nothing to do.
Bad Boy Maguire is the real Spider-Man.
Oh, you'll get your rent when you fix
it's just door. I felt it. I felt his character just was so consistent from start to finish. I don't know what I'm doing, but I'm gonna try anyways, kind of thing. The scene where Superman's keeping up with him. Mm-hmm. He's running, the Superman just looks at him and is able to keep up with his speed. His face of just shock and horror of realizing he's about to get his butt whooped is just so perfect and in character.
Loved the scene where he's freaking out. He's like, you guys are all ready to go into battle. I've never been in battle.
I've never done battle.
And everything. And Batman just looks at him and is like, just save one. And you see this look on his face and he's like, just one. He's like, yeah. And he's like, what do I do next? And he's like, you'll know. And so it's he goes in, saves the guy, and he's like,
Bruce Wayne,
but he was like, that's so
moment.
But it was one of those things he did it, and he's like, oh well, that was easy, and he ends up saving everybody because that's. And I love that little moment because it really kind of brought it out in it.
I really like the non.
I thought it was really moment.
I think one of the issues that people are having without really realizing it is you have this pre-established universe of Batman coming in has already been Batman, so it's really weird to see a superhero that doesn't know what he's doing. Which I felt like the contrast was great because you had this. I think they could have focused more on someone. They should have picked someone to sort of mentor Flash more. I think they. But anyways, it doesn't matter. But his character's so consistent. That scene, I have no idea what Wonder Woman and Batman were fighting about. When we went to see the movie cut out. And he goes, you should, and then just quiet. And the sound comes right back in right as he punches Batman. So I'm like, you should. And then for 5 minutes of quiet, and then BAM!
He says something about Steve Trevor.
Yeah, because they kind of mention it back.
And she gets mad at
the importance, I had no sound. So, I was just watching. And, if you look, I think it's about the time, somewhere in their argument, I think it's when she hits Batman, the Flash is back there, and he sees him getting hit, he's gone. He's like, I don't like confrontation. He just disappears. Mommy, Daddy, why are you fighting?
Actually, that scene has my favorite line of dialogue in the movie when Cyborg
Oh, good. I didn't hear it.
I ran the numbers while you were being an asshole.
Oh, I did hear that, actually.
I loved it.
It was after it came back in. But, yeah, he's just, a lot of people didn't like that, the Flash is tripping. He's like, oh, man, it's his job to run fast. He knows how to do this. It's no, he's
still so inexperienced.
Yeah, he's he tripped 4 times in a span of 2 days. But he's inexperienced.
Well, he's really fast, meaning he moves around a lot more. The probability of tripping is higher.
They don't really mention it in the movie, but if you notice, he has a hard time stopping once he's gone full speed. Mm-hmm. He trips over stuff when he tries to stop. Batman saved him with the grappling hook because he was about to run off of something because he couldn't stop. And it's just, again, little things they could have, mentioned in, 2 sentences that would have made a lot more sense. There's a lot of stuff like that.
I like the scene. There's a scene where Bruce Wayne kind of walks away from the team and takes his suit off, and you realize he's got bruises all over him, and he's actually in pain. I really liked that because it kind of just shows Bruce Wayne in this very vulnerable light where he's in so much pain. Yet he has to stay strong for everyone else. He's in this team full of metahumans.
So you mean Ben Affleck in real life? He's just in so much pain. He's just gonna power through it.
He's got to power through it. I mean, poor guy's going through a lot of shit.
I feel so bad.
I feel personally we make so many Batman jokes, like, in our group and in our circle and stuff, that whenever I see Batman on screen in pain, I'm like, oh, just, like, every other second, Batman's acting like he's in pain. And it's really hard to kind of break away from our jokes while watching the movie.
I will say there's a very nice shot of them jumping off of that thing.
The booty shot.
The booty shot.
I was about to say, so are we talking about... I was like, oh, okay.
And it's funny because I see people on Reddit complain about that shot, being like, oh, of course they gotta give Wonder Woman gratuitous.
They showed everyone's booty.
And that's the thing, I was too distracted by Ben Affleck and Jason Momoa's bust to even notice gals.
William literally leaned over to me and said, Batman thick. And I was like...
And, Borg booty was another one,
at the same time, I was leaning over to say the same thing to William about Cyborg's booty, so...
Borg butt. Borg booty.
I love him.
Booty thick.
It's really weird. I actually liked Angry Superman because it just felt like the crap that he went through kind of just corrupted him just a little bit. Because, you know, when he's beating the crap out of the whole team, he's beating the crap out of the whole team, and when he's fighting Wolfie Boy, he's fighting Wolfie Boy, and, like, he hits him, and the guy's down, and so Superman just sits on his chest and just starts pounding his face in. I was like, that's really unnecessary, man. You had him. Like, it's good. And I said it before, and I'll say it again. There's no live-action version of Superman where the frost breath is cool. Like, everyone's, like, punching things, he's throwing things, he could have shot laser beams, he could have done anything, he goes...
And thus the Icebreakers commercial.
You're wrong.
I
thought the frost breath was cool, but, there's just one
shot.
He
has laser eyes!
Yeah, but you gotta freeze the axe so they can break it.
Is that
dummy.
Superman? Does Superman have laser eyes?
Yes.
Right.
Okay,
yes.
This is how little I know about Superman.
I don't know if you noticed this, but there's... I mean, it's very noticeable.
I watched the first 4 seasons of Smallville. That's about it.
But there's there's one shot in the movie that I really hate because it just looks really stupid. It's the shot where...
The beginning, when the portrait of him talking to the kids with the fake lip.
There's the shot after when Momoa's in the ocean and Ben Affleck's talking to him from the shore. There's a shot where... He just back dives into the water.
Oh my god, that scene! Ugh.
And the shot looked so bad.
I didn't notice.
Yeah, because he just kind of falls out of frame.
It physically looked like someone just like grabbed him and
pulled him back. Natural. It looked so bad.
Well, you have to remember. I think they were trying to go with. You have to remember that he's like, at least in a lot of different versions of the comics, that he has the same strength as Superman.
But it's like they didn't do it in the way of like Superman taking off.
If he was on screen, I was drooling.
If he would have jumped up into the water, it would look cool. But he literally just
They made up for it with him walking and White Stripes' Icky Thump playing in the background. I was like, this is something I did not know that I needed in my life, and oh my god, I needed it in my life.
It's like Aquaman gets so much flack for a lot of stuff. And again, I don't know a lot about the DC universe, but I'm friends with Ian, so I know all this. Like,
you know enough about Aquaman.
Like, Aquaman has almost the strength of Superman underwater. So when he's out of water, he is really freaking strong. Like, the Trident is so magical, it can kill Superman, if I'm not mistaken. And just, he can do so much more stuff that no one gives him credit for. And, like, it just, I don't know.
I almost feel because they cast Jason Momoa for it that...
I think that was intentional. Because the reason people don't like Aquaman is because, one, in the comics, it was very... He changed a lot. Like, they never set up... Like, some is like, you have the orange and the green, and like, I am Aquaman, I can talk to fish. And there's that other one where his arm got blown off, and he replaces it with a grappling hook, and he just murders people. Like, there's a very big, wide range.
There's the one in the cartoon.
And it's just like the Batman movies. The Batman movies... You had them Adam West Batman, and then the movies kind of try to copy that and realize that was a terrible idea. And so you had the Dark Knight movies that were trying to make you forget about the old Batman, and that's what they're trying to do with Aquaman now. It's like, pretend you never saw the old Aquaman cartoon. Just pretend that never happened.
I love Adam West Batman, though. Adam West Batman's like my jam.
I've always disliked Adam West Batman.
Yeah, but Adam West and Family Guy is...
I love Adam West.
Adam West.
I can't deny that his Batman and that whole show itself is iconic. I just don't personally like it. Here's my thing.
Okay, so you have the fight scene, the big fight scene with him and the Amazonians, Steppenwolf and the Amazonians. Mm-hmm. You have the flashback fight scene. I remember no other fight scene. They were so
There's like 2 others.
They were so bland. I remember none of them. I don't remember any particular thing that happened other than the Cyborg catching Aquaman, and that's just because, one, Jason Momoa's on the screen.
My man.
And that
That made me think of the Ninja Turtles movie, My Man.
And it was also, that was in the trailer I saw it so much. And just, the fight scenes were really lacking. Like, you had, I've seen fight scenes from Batman and Superman, like, they were really choreographed. They were great. And this one is like, oh, we have this team of 5 people. Let's never have them work together.
See, what killed me, though, was there was this huge fight between Steppenwolf and the Amazons, which I loved because I love watching the Amazons fight.
That's a great scene.
Then there was a slightly shorter scene of Steppenwolf fighting the
Atlanteans,
sorry,
which, like,
which was a lot shorter, and it kind of upset me because I'm like, I've seen the Amazons fight and I love it. I've never seen the Atlanteans before, and the scene's
that's because
so
Wonder
short.
Woman did so good. Like, they were trying to play to their strengths.
Yeah,
and they really.
But it's like, and you know, you get to see the Atlanteans a little bit, but you don't really get anything. And then he just walks on Earth and it's like, oh, hey, there it is.
I'll get to that in a second.
But I mean, I feel that's typical Earth.
That's so bad. I'm making a note of that right now.
I feel that's typical Earth, though, because if anyone's going to just completely screw this up, it's gonna be planet Earth.
Well, think about this. Like, you know, he's trying to take their mother box from the Amazonians. Like, it starts to move, and like, whole room's full. They're ready. She runs out. They've got the hammers to close the gate. They kill themselves.
Earth is like, we buried it in a box.
The whole island fights him. And then the Atlanteans are like, yeah, we put a couple guards on there. It'll be all right. This will be fine.
And then Earth's just like, we put it in a box. We put that box in a hole.
On Earth, they're like, we need to guard this mother box. And then they drop it and forget about it. And he's like, oh, yeah, we were supposed to be watching that. Like, it's just like, no wonder he's coming to Earth. You guys are idiots. Like, you're just stupid. Like no one thought, like, hey, while Superman's angry, maybe we should guard the mother box.
There was even a shot of the mother box, like flying and hitting the car. And then they just forget about it. And then all of a sudden there's a thing, and they're like, oh yeah, that's what we were doing, right?
I like in the scene where it shows Steppenwolf's original conquest. There's like 5 seconds of Green Lantern, and that 5 seconds of that one Green Lantern was better than the entire Green Lantern movie.
Oh, I love how the fully CGI Green Lantern looked better than the main villain of that. He just looked... It's bad because if he had looked less real, it probably would have been okay.
Steppenwolf?
Yeah, but
You're like a God of War character.
He was so close but not there that he was just like, he was camping out in the Uncanny Valley. Like, he had the fire, he had marshmallows, he had hot dogs he was roasting.
He was making himself some s'mores.
He was down there for the long haul, and it was awful.
That's the problem with having CGI characters. Should have had more prosthetics.
I was gonna say, it's like his outfit wasn't even something that really needed CGI. Like, some good prosthetics and makeup, and then like a good costume department, that would have been fine.
How did they do Thanos? Because he never looked that bad.
Thanos is CG too.
Yeah, he never looked that bad, I don't think, but maybe that's because he's purple. So you don't notice as much.
They got better animators over at Disney.
It was like a $300 million movie. They could have found some time to animate some stuff.
Okay, about to be super petty.
Didn't they only make like $98 million on the opening weekend?
They spent too much money on reshoots.
They spent half the budget taking out Superman's lips on scenes.
Yeah, Steppenwolf's gonna look bad because we have to edit out this mustache.
If Batman could have a full beard in one scene and then nothing in the next, why couldn't Superman just have a beard?
Okay, I want to talk about that too. All right,
I didn't notice that.
I hate that scene.
Yeah, it's like one scene he's got like this full, like he's completely clean shaved. The next scene he's got like full beard, and then you see him shave.
I was ranting about that earlier on Discord about because that first Batman scene with the Parademon was a Whedon scene.
I like how we're referring to it as the Whedon scene.
The Whedon scene. And I hate that it goes from that scene, Bruce is just completely clean-shaven Batman, and then the next scene he's in, he has a full beard. Mm-hmm. I hated that. Because I noticed it immediately because I turned to you and I was like...
Plot twist, they had the CGI in the beard.
Continuity?
They just took Superman's mustache and just copy-pasted it all over his face.
Well, see, continuity isn't part of the formula of witty one-liners and character deaths.
And that's the thing, too. Whedon is so predictable now. You can kind of go... You can really watch that movie and pick out what's his and what's Zack Snyder's.
I know a lot of people didn't like Zack Snyder doing that movie either.
I like Zack Snyder.
Well, no, I mean...
And I'm not ashamed. A lot of people like really shit on Snyder a lot. But
the people I've been talking to, they don't have anything against him personally. They just don't think that he should have done this movie. With the way they're trying to turn around the way the universe is, they shouldn't have used him. Because he... I don't know. I don't know. I'm not in that pool of people that think that. Which the thing is with Snyder...
Snyder's a good visual director. The thing is, he keeps getting paired with shitty writers. Snyder has good ideas, and he has a good visual eye. He just can't... He's never paired up with someone that can efficiently work with him in a way that's good. That's all I'll say.
That sounded so bad.
Like, he's... Okay, Zack Snyder... I can't remember how many movies he's made, but he's... I think, out of all the movies, I liked Dawn of the Dead, I liked 300, and I liked Watchmen. I hated Sucker Punch.
I never saw it.
Sucker Punch. Which one's Sucker Punch?
Sucker Punch was the schoolgirls that
was almost good.
The movie gave me a headache. No joke.
I mean, I watched Primer. I can handle that.
But that's the thing. It's just, if Zack Snyder was paired up with a more competent screenwriter, other than David S. Goyer, then we could have had a better universe set up. Or if Warner Brothers just, didn't fuck around and actually said, hey, let's, create this universe.
Let's put a team to actually work on this universe instead of just
Instead of, we're going to do Batman, Superman movie. David Ayer, you got 6 months to make Suicide Squad.
They're trying to recreate what Marvel did in a very, very smaller amount of time.
Universal did the same thing with their Dark Universe, trying to make...
Yeah, didn't they cancel that? The Dark Universe?
It's funny, it's been canceled twice. They canceled it after Dracula Untold because Dracula Untold flopped.
I didn't know that was supposed to be part of the universe.
And they canceled it after The Mummy because no one liked The Mummy.
So
and for
I
good
don't
reason.
know if it's true, but I heard rumors that The Mummy literally came with like a free movie download. Like not for the Mummy movie, just literally you could download another movie if you bought that movie.
Really? That's cool.
Yeah. I don't know if it's true though. So like, but Universal I saw it and I
wanted it to be good.
Free movie.
Yeah.
I wanted it to be good because I don't know her name. I
love her. I know exactly what you're talking about.
Say. I don't think at any point I knew her name, but she was the
Giselle,
the bladed girl in Kingsman.
Yes. Oh my god, I love her so much.
So I was like,
she's also in Atomic Blonde, and I really want to see that too.
I didn't know that.
She plays she plays Charlize Theron's lover, I think, at one point.
Okay, this is what I think part of the problem with Justice League was, and I brought this up earlier. In the first Avengers movie, we're going to pretend like it wasn't made by Joss Whedon, but I don't really think he had any part in what I'm about to say. Name a character that was in that movie that wasn't in the movies before. He brought up Maria Hill?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Can you think of another one?
That's pretty much it.
That's the point. They made the movie. They had everything pre-established, so they had enough time to set up background, plot, them getting mad, everything. They had time for everything. And you have Justice League, who's like, hey, here's 3 new characters, and we're going to randomly decide who gets background and who doesn't, and then try to find time for the backstory of the main story, and then to the fight scene.
And on top of that, not only is it 3 new characters, but you've got Superman, who's only had 1 movie before that. Wonder Woman, who's only had the 1 movie before that. Batman, who... There's only been 1 movie with Batfleck in it. The others were Christian Bale. I don't even know if that's part of this storyline.
No, absolutely not. No, because the ending of that one was predictable. But
I feel that's another issue, is they just...
Yeah, they
didn't start off established in the same way that...
They're trying to compete with Marvel, which they don't need to do, because they're not enemies. Like, if they make really good movies, I'm gonna see both.
Exactly. It's like, it's not a matter of, I'd rather watch Marvel over DC. Right now, I prefer Marvel because Marvel found their system of how they pump out stuff.
Marvel was
to a very frustrating degree.
If DC would get on that level...
at the theater when I saw Jigsaw, and it was very irritating.
What?
When me and Jordan went and saw Jigsaw, we were standing out in the lobby. They had a Justice League standee thing, little big thing.
Yeah, like the things like somehow you put your face in.
Yeah, you can take your picture with them. And we were standing there looking at it and talking about Batman. And this guy came up to my left, and he was like, "Who's your favorite?" And I was like, "What?" He's like, "My favorite's Aquaman. Aquaman's the most powerful out of all of them. You want to know why? It's like he could drown the world, and Flash could just run really fast and make everyone not exist, run back in time." And he goes, "Those are my favorites. Who do you like?" And I was like, "I like Batman." And he was just talking to us, just this random dude I never met before. And he was like, "Yeah, I'm a DC fanboy. I hate Marvel." And looked at Jordan and gave him this, like, I don't want to talk to this kid anymore.
And see,
my knee at the table. Uh-oh.
And see, it's like, I'm definitely an MCU fangirl. I've said Marvel fangirl before, and people have been like, "Oh, you don't read the comics," and I was like, "Okay, well, I'm an MCU fangirl. Love the MCU a lot.
It's probably better.
And everything." And it's like I've gone and seen the DC movies. I've always been kind of meh and iffy on them. Then Wonder Woman came out, and I was like, "Oh my god, this movie! Everything else needs to get on this level," and DC hasn't got back on that level.
Yeah.
But it's like it was really cool to be like.
Yeah,
it just opens up even more superhero movies.
Yeah, and the thing
I'm
is,
just like,
they're just dragging
they're
their feet.
They're not competing like Marvel. There's someone talking for Marvel, and they were ecstatic that Wonder Woman did so good because like this is proof that we can actually put out some new female leads without people getting their panties in a twist.
All right. And it's like part of me's
they're
like
Calvin Klein boxers in a twist.
It really makes me scared for like Captain Marvel though, because I really hope Captain Marvel kind of gets handled in the same way that Wonder Woman did.
They didn't give her a boob window like they did in the comics, did they?
She didn't have a boob window in the comics.
Where they have like it's like it goes here and then comes around and just
she doesn't have the.
She doesn't. You're thinking of Power Girl.
I am thinking of Power Girl. You're absolutely right.
Yeah, that's who that is.
Booyah! The one comic thing I know is Captain Marvel.
You just got schooled.
There is no superhero that needs to show that much cleavage. Like
they've actually a person did a thing, and if you were trying to fly with that boob window, it would catch air. And
yeah, like the thing is like these superheroes
need to have such big boobs.
Because
that's where they store their powers.
That one Spider-Man cover that was drawn by the porn artist.
Oh my god, the Spider-Woman.
Yeah,
the best thing that came from that was I think somebody drew, because that was back during the Hawkeye Initiative, and God bless whoever created the Hawkeye Initiative, because that was the greatest thing in the world. Where the Hawkeye Initiative was where a bunch of artists drew Hawkeye in poses that female characters had. Right. And if it was weird for Hawkeye to stand like that, then why are female characters standing like that?
I remember Maddox made a whole video about that whole thing, about that comic book cover, and how there's a double standard that a lot of men heroes have very provocative poses as well on a lot of comic book covers, and that in context it's not sexual unless you sexualize it yourself.
But the spandex, like
the Spider-Man one was intentional. You can tell, like looking at it, like but
because the male characters in spandex, it shows their muscles and stuff like that. But this Spider-Woman, the spandex, like her vag would have been like almost like air suctioned, like you would have been able. Yeah,
and the way she was squatting is like you could see each
I've never
individual
seen like Spider-Man's like dick outline.
I have
on the front of it.
There's one Spider-Man cover I know of. It's a Todd McFarlane drawing, and he's like squatted with his legs out, and you see his dick bulge.
So can we just agree that that's not necessary for
nobody?
For any,
you do not need these ridiculously
especially to
provocative...
you viewers listening, miss the whole fact that I'm currently doing the squat Spider-Man does.
Yeah,
in this
chair. It's so uncomfortable. I'm so afraid you're gonna fall.
Is that the dick bulge?
Is there anything else anyone?
That little bump.
Oh, that's no.
To be fair, we have watched Labyrinth before.
That's a dick bulge.
That's not really. It's very blacked out. There's not really any.
Is there anything else you want to talk about this? I think like the way I've said it on a scale from
personally,
I think
that one's a bit more.
I think Thor Ragnarok has been my favorite so far. That's subject to change, but
MCU related,
just in general.
Oh, in general, mine's still Wonder Woman.
That's fair. Okay, yeah, let's use Wonder Woman. Let's use Wonder Woman, because what I believe is that on a scale from Green Lantern to Wonder Woman.
Are we really using Green Lantern as the worst of the worst of the worst?
It's either that or the Fantastic Four.
That's a good point. Let's go with Fantastic Four.
Regardless.
Fantastic Four is insufferably
on a scale from Green Lantern / Fantastic Four to
Ryan
Wonder
Reynolds.
Woman / Thor Ragnarok, I give Justice League a Age of Ultron +1. Like,
I give it a Thor 2. I very much enjoyed it, and it was a fun watch, but I feel like it could have had a lot more.
Yeah, I've been ragging on it this whole time, but I genuinely did enjoy watching that movie, and I came out happy.
Did too. Yeah.
I just feel like the wasted potential of it is what bothers me. Like, there's so much... Like,
you can see growth there.
Oh, yeah.
They're growing. It's growing.
I don't know why that. Anyways,
it's growing, you guys.
I'm trying to think of what movie to compare my movie rating for it, and I think I'm going.
It's so hard because there's such a range. Like some people like really didn't like Winter Soldier. I love.
In
Winter
terms
Soldier.
of
I felt like with most romances in these movies, you don't have time for them. So, Captain America and What's Her Face just seemed really random.
8 and 13. Yeah, and Civil War only made that a bit worse for me.
I'm going to give Justice League a Spider-Man Homecoming.
Oh, I still gotta finish that.
Is that high or low?
That's a high.
Is it?
Mainly because both of those movies, I thought they were both a lot of fun, and they both made me smile a lot.
I think I would have rated it.
I smiled a lot throughout Justice League.
Yeah, I would have if there had been more Aquaman. But as you told me, the reason there wasn't as much Aquaman is because they're saving it for the Aquaman movie. Yeah. And I can live with that.
I'm very excited about the Aquaman movie. Because
I was on the Jason Momoa train way before anyone else was, because he was this badass in Stargate Atlantis. Like, Stargate Atlantis is like, you have these evil aliens that basically destroy galaxies. He was so badass, they tagged him and were trying to hunt him because he was so good at getting away and killing them.
That's awesome.
Like, that's what he did, and he had he's always been awesome. So when the moment they cast him as Aquaman, I was so happy. I actually think he looks a little bit too bright in the movie, because like the image they gave us before
was very broody, and he wasn't so much like super broody.
Like, it's so weird. He's like,
it's kind of like loosey-goosey.
But I think he kind of was. But I think the whole we didn't talk about him sitting on the lasso scene. Like
God
that scene.
Bless
that scene kind of proves that that's probably a facade. Like that's the act he puts on because he is broody. Because like
that scene is
he's just spouting out the stuff. We're gonna die. It's gonna be awful, but at least we'll go out in a blaze of glory. You're useless. You're useless. You're useless. You're hot. Then he realizes he's sitting on the lasso of truth.
Which I also feel was a Whedon line. But
that's a total Whedon. I knew it because when that scene started,
it kind of made sense in context because he's never seen anyone that could live up to.
No, I totally get it. It's just hearing that I was like, that's funny, but this is definitely a Whedon line.
Yeah, and there's also because the lasso of truth though, you can get away with a lot of stuff.
Before you realize,
is another reason.
Before you realize he's sitting on the lasso, the dialogue in that scene is so cringeworthy Whedon.
Yeah.
It made me roll my eyes because I was like, oh yeah, this is definitely a Whedon scene. And I was getting mad about it because I'm already kind of at odds with Joss Whedon after years of mediocrity. And so I was just like, oh, great.
I know, it's so rough.
And then the whole lasso thing, I was like, all right, whatever.
I worship Firefly, and I'm still like, Joss Whedon's good at my
yeah, it's like, I have that issue because I love Firefly, I love Buffy, I love Dr. Horrible. It's like, I love the first Avengers. It's like, I love the first Avengers movie and everything, and it's just like...
I do wonder if the first Avengers wouldn't be as good now as it was then.
I've been afraid to rewatch it.
I
still like it.
I've never rewatched it, but I have re-listened to it.
But see,
because I have a group of movies on my phone that I'll play through my speakers on the way to and from work, and I've listened to the Avengers quite a few times.
Well, it's like I watched the Avengers in theaters like 8 or 9 times, and so by the time I went a lot.
I went.
And
oh my gosh.
So by the time it came out on DVD, I could quote that movie word for word, so I didn't really watch it all that much. I watched Age of Ultron twice. I watched it once with I went with William and stuff, and then I took my mom to go see it because I always take her to see Marvel stuff.
It was okay. I think actually I really enjoyed it until close to the end, and it was so much that I didn't like that.
I felt it was.
But I'm so biased though because maybe I'm not giving that movie a good enough score because the way Quicksilver died. Maybe I'm giving it too much of a good score because I think what's her name playing Scarlet Witch like that with that Russian accent is the sexiest thing I've ever seen. I have to control myself, but
yep.
I love that she looks more like an Olsen twin than an Olsen twin.
The thing is about Age of Ultron was that
stuff
it was so
be cut out.
obvious that it didn't seem like Joss Whedon was really keeping up with the other movies at that point.
Yeah.
And so the characters feel a little inconsistent with
that's fair.
What had been set up prior to that. And that was my biggest problem with that movie, was that it felt kind of like Joss Whedon just didn't really care to keep the characters consistent. And just, again, it was in that whole, I'm going to do what I want to do.
I wonder how much of that was him, though, and how much was it what he was allowed to do. And
I don't know. I can't bring myself to even defend him, so I just automatically would be like, I'm pretty sure.
The only thing that they
just
absolutely forced him to put in was the scene where Thor's in that pool and he sees the Infinity Stone.
And they cut out most of that anyways.
Yeah.
You think, we talked about this, like, did they have to kill off Quicksilver? I'm pretty sure they did.
I don't think they had
There's
to.
some fan theories about it.
But in my opinion, I felt like
because there was another
they wanted to use Scarlet Witch, but they didn't necessarily want to use Quicksilver.
But
and since X-Men was using Quicksilver, they decided to just... Yeah. I think that might have been part of the original deal, or it might not have been, but I feel like...
Well, the thing is, there's like, you have that speech that Hawkeye gives Scarlet Witch. Like, we needed that for Quicksilver, for us to give a crap about him saving Hawkeye in the end. It made no difference. We're like, oh, hey, he's dead. It's cool. Thumbs up. I don't know. I'm iffy about that. I can't even remember what we were talking about. Talking about Hawkeye. People are like, man, Hawkeye's costume doesn't look like his comic book. Like, good! Good!
Oh my god.
He looks like a circus freak. You know why? Because he was a circus freak. He was, like, according to the cartoon I've been watching, he was in this band of thieving circus people. And
okay, I'm not gonna lie though. How great would it have been had that been Jeremy Renner's character though? Like,
I want a Hawkeye Black Widow prequel. I want to figure out.
Same. What happened in Budapest? Was it Budapest?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, it's Budapest. That's what I'm gonna say. Istanbul.
God, it's been a while.
I don't know where either of those.
No, it started with a B.
Yeah, it's Budapest.
It was Budapest.
Was she in the movie now? Black Widow? Did they finally say?
See, I heard Stan Lee had announced that she was getting a movie, but then I've also heard people comment being like, "Well, Stan Lee doesn't really have a say in the movies," and I'm like, "Yeah, but Stan Lee's kind of like God."
I think they're going to seriously consider it because of Wonder Woman. I think that really opened the door for...
And, I mean, Marvel fans have been screaming about a Black Widow movie before DC ever announced they were doing a Wonder Woman movie.
I know, but it's
had Marvel not, like, twiddled their thumbs and stuff like that and given us that movie, they could be holding that mantle right now.
I get that.
Like,
and I totally don't blame
But then again,
them,
I'm almost glad that they didn't because they probably would have got Joss Whedon to write it.
Yeah, that would have been bad.
There's one thing right now is apparently he's developing the Batgirl movie for DC.
I'm not excited.
Slide whistle.
Not excited. I'll probably go and see it and be bitter the whole time.
Get ready for gratuitous ass shots.
Yep.
Well, they're gonna do that with everyone. I mean,
and her using her
they do gratuitous
sex appeal to get whatever
sex
she needs.
appeal, sexualizing, masquerading as female empowerment.
Yeah.
But it's okay, you guys, because Joss Whedon's a feminist.
Boy, we're getting political.
Joss Whedon's a feminist.
I'm sorry, I told you it was gonna happen.
Dunham is a feminist. It's all for marketing.
It's like I told you before I even started this.
Say what you want about the gratuitous ass shots, but every superhero gets those. So
that's the one thing I like about Justice League. Ass shots were
there were so many ass shots of everybody
equal distributed
ass shots equally. And that's the thing. I was like, I just want to see Ben Affleck's, but I don't care about anyone else's. That's one thing about the Batman vs Superman Extended Edition is you get a nice scene of Bruce Wayne taking a shower, and you see Ben Affleck's
He was telling me about that.
Okay, also, I'm remembering random stuff about Justice League. Do you find it odd that the best scene in that movie was the scene that didn't actually take place during that movie? Like the fight scene, I can't think of the word I'm looking for. Words are hard. The fight scene showing how he got defeated.
Steppenwolf?
Yeah. Was like the best scene in that movie. It's like the best scene in that movie is one that didn't take place in that movie. And if all the fight scenes looked like that, because the fighting in that was actually better choreographed than anything else in the movie was.
That's what happens when Joss Whedon reshoots 50% of your movie.
Didn't you say they cut like a lot of that scene too?
Yeah.
That was supposed to be an intro scene.
From what I read,
they went from "Have you fought a hippo?" I'm never gonna let that go, even though that was a great line. I actually really like that line, but I'm gonna make fun of it because hippos are dangerous, man.
Everyone at work's been making fun of the line of Lois Lane. Lois Lane going, "You smell good," and it's
I understand why they put that in there. I totally do. It was so people would not complain about the fact that he's been dead and he should smell bad. Like that's literally just to stop that.
But the thing is honestly almost like Lois Lane just enjoying the smell of a dead Superman.
There was a few jokes.
Lois Lane's the thirstiest woman.
Necrophilia.
Okay, I get how that would have been funny had they not been both in a speech about how they're mourning. That was so out of freaking place. Like, we're so sad. By the way, you're a whore. It's so sad.
Thanks, Joss Whedon.
There's a lot of jokes at the beginning that just fell so flat.
Thanks, Joss Whedon.
I can't even remember what they are. They were so bad.
My favorite joke was Superman died fighting by my side. Aquaman says, my point exactly.
That was good, actually. I like that. I loved his attitude.
Yeah.
Next DC movie, I'm going in with a notebook, and you'll be like, nope, I didn't like that.
Oh my
I believe
God,
Aquaman's the next one.
Do that.
I'm gonna have like night vision goggles so I can see and just.
But yeah, Justice League's fun. Got a lot of flaws.
I know we keep ragging on it, and at the same time, I'm like, I give that like a 7 out of like.
But I really liked it.
Like,
There was a lot of fun things going on.
I did enjoy it.
It felt like it was very. The colors is one thing that I noticed too. Was that Superman's costume in this one was much more colorful than it was in Man of Steel and Batman vs Superman, and the colors really pop, and it felt a lot like classic Justice League. Oh, we're the super friends, Justice League. Let's go fight crime.
I hate always going back to it, but because Wonder Woman was also a very bright DC movie in comparison to other DC movies. And so having like this bright Wonder Woman movie, now having this bright Justice League and everything, and it's nicer because it's like there's still kind of that dark overtone that DC has, because DC, even looking at the comic books, like, you can just pick up covers and look at them, and it's like DC just feels like it has a bit more of a broody thing than Marvel.
But Thor 3 proved you can do both. Yeah,
and so I was like, it's really nice to kind of see DC lightening up a bit. I don't think Joss Whedon's writing is quite where DC is, because Joss Whedon, his like one-liners and jokes work great in Marvel because Marvel was already kind of that lighthearted.
Yeah, it was.
DC's not.
Yeah. But to be fair, like, Age of Ultron wasn't as... I think maybe that's the issue. Age of Ultron wasn't as bright, and I say bright and preppy, but bright and peppy as the first Avengers. It was a bit darker kind of thing going on.
Yeah.
And there's all this crap going on, and I always felt like the one-liners in Age of Ultron just didn't work nearly as well, and that could be the issue. It's like, it's just that type of dialogue just doesn't match the tone of the movie, and just...
Joss Whedon just has
and it's like he used to could write dark really well.
It's very true. Like, I love Angel, but like Angel,
I mean, that's just the thing.
It's hard going back and watching his other stuff and seeing those patterns now.
Yeah, he's done the same thing for
it's the problem with One Trick
years.
Ponies. Whenever you finally realize all they have is that one trick.
It's the problem with critically reviewing stuff so much. It's like you start seeing the tropes and start like. It's like, if I didn't know what I know, this would be a great movie.
We're also super cynical about stuff.
I'm super cynical.
But that's one thing too that I kind of hate about DC fans and Marvel fans and the imaginary, non-existent war between the two, is that DC's all like, yeah, our stories are darker and more serious, and you know, Marvel's for kids, lighthearted. Marvel and DC both have dark stories, and they both have lighthearted stories. So it's just, I don't know, there's this fight between the two, like us versus them when it comes to DC Comics and Marvel. It's just really fucking stupid. And if you're one of them, you're stupid too.
You heard it here first.
I was just about to say that.
Okay, we're
running off
to wrap this up.
I was gonna say, it's like, are you worried about time because of like how long you want this to be?
Yeah.
But because I was like, a lot of this is gonna get cut.
Where are we at?
I'm not bothering to cut most of this.
Okay. Because I was like,
I'm not going through that.
Okay, I was just gonna be like.
But like one last thing before.
I think this is entertaining enough to sustain. How long have we been talking now?
An hour and 20 minutes.
That's
not
bad.
15. But like, what do you think of Cyborg? Well, I'm gonna have to go through your rant here in a minute. That's gonna like another hour and a half.
We haven't even got to the game.
I like Cyborg. I thought it was cool.
I liked him.
I wasn't expecting the constant updates, like how his body is like updating constantly.
Because he wasn't quite Cyborg yet. Yeah.
But then I liked at the end where it was showing him kind of slowly morphing into a more classic.
Some people are like,
Cyborg.
I hate Cyborg's look. He looked better when he changed at the end. I was like, that's the point.
Yeah.
Like that's the entire point. Is you're supposed
character development thing.
But like, okay, let's talk about some games here for a second, because I've been playing
games.
I've been playing
games.
Wait, you do it again. What's happening?
Sorry, it's not really something nerdy. It's just something I really enjoy. Jordan Fisher from Alabama went Dancing with the Stars, and I was really I was proud of him. Shut up, Brad. Just cut it out.
One of our own from Alabama has won Dancing with the Stars.
Congratulations, Jordan Fisher.
Congratulations. for winning.
He was in that video game.
With the Stars.
That game, the one where you're in the cabin and you play all the different characters.
Oh really? Who? Oh, he was.
Yeah.
Yes, he was.
Okay.
Anyways, see, I tied it back in.
Yeah, you gotta do that intro again now.
Sorry.
What was...
You gotta do that song intro now.
Oh, video games. Video games. Video games. Games. Okay.
Yeah, I'm totally gonna cut that and paste it in every time.
Every time.
But I've been playing
voice cracks and all.
I've been playing Destiny 2. I paid $100 for it and the next DLCs. Destiny 2. That was my Christmas bonus. Destiny 2.
I bought gas with my Christmas bonus. I know, right?
Being an adult sucks.
I hadn't really spent anything on anything else, so I had it. But it's not a full game. Like, it's like a quarter of a game. You have the main story, which takes like 8 hours to get through maybe, and that's only because it's like, you can't go here until you're the next level, which is fine, but like you can't factor the grind time into the story time. That's not how it works. Your story's still only like 20 minutes long. I was expecting the last boss to be difficult, but I soloed it in like 2 seconds. It was pointless. And then like you have like 4 maps, all of which have the same stuff going on. It's like, do this public event that you did on every other map. There's one planet that has one thing you can't do anywhere else, and it's so stupid. And so like you're just doing the same stuff to grind, and when you get done, it's like, all right, you did that. Now you can do all these repetitive tasks, or you can do PvP, and that's it. That's all that's left. I paid this much for this game, and now the only thing they can do is be like, well, you can get better stuff if you do PvP. It's like, what if I don't want to? It's like, you can do PvP. It's like, why did you even bother putting the story in here? You could just made this a PvP game. That being said, I put a lot of hours in it, and I plan on keep playing it. I don't know, there's just something about the way they do it is great. It's like they have potential to make a game, but for the moment, it's like playing a demo, except there's not any more to it.
Speaking of demos.
Oh, here we go.
EA Games released a playable demo this past Friday called Star Wars Battlefront 2.
Is it out now?
Yeah, it came out Friday.
Oh, so you can play the demo without buying it. Gotcha. I was thinking like
the game is the demo. You have to buy the rest of the game through microtransactions. Fuck you, EA Games.
Wow, that's it. Review over.
Just
review over. EA Games, Electronic Arts, more like EA Games. EA stands for eats ass.
That was good and slightly offensive to many different people. For that to be an insult, but
yeah.
Hey, I mean,
besides people that play sports games, and so the sports games, but like, what has EA ever done that made you go, man, this is a good game? Like, I like this game. Like, I can't think of anything. Maybe The Sims, but that's because it was a pre-established.
Yeah, and then they created their stupid Origin thing that you had to download Sims through and play Sims through it, and so I don't even play Sims anymore.
Everyone's trying to do that.
As far as I know, Mass Effect was good up until Mass Effect Andromeda. Apparently, EA fucked Andromeda up.
Yeah, well, I was never a big Mass Effect.
EA fucked Dead Space 3 up. And now...
I know, didn't Dead Space start as a horror game? Like, that's not what Dead Space 3 was at all.
I can't remember what it was exactly.
It was just like, a shooter, gory kind of...
Now, EA has reached full levels of Hitler.
That's a bit extreme. Might have to cut that out.
Oh my god.
Now EA has... I mean, I don't know what else.
He's so much calmer about this than he has been before.
I know.
He's already worked out all his anger in the previous conversation.
I feel most of his
rant. You gotta stop ranting in Discord and save it for the mic.
Unlock rant for 1995.
Yeah,
I made a compressor that made sure that your yelling wasn't too loud just for this particular segment.
Send it payable to PayPal, 1995 to unlock William's rant.
But yeah, I'm tired of this microtransaction system being implemented in video games.
Dude, script that stuff and just make a full-on video of you just yelling about EA. I would love that.
It's just irritating, especially with something like that's so beloved as Battlefront and something that I love so much too.
Like, how does it work? Games. Like, you have to unlock, like, to work a vehicle. I know you need the tokens or whatever. Like, do you have to like unlock that first before you can ever use the vehicle? Or
I'm not sure what it is. I'm not entirely
because I remember
full into the details of everything.
Yeah, I'm not gonna bother with it. But I remember like Battlefront 2. the good one.
You had everything.
Like, they're on the space levels, not only could I just get in a ship and fly it, like, I would wait there for the good ship, I could fly my ship in the enemy hangar, steal a TIE fighter, and just bamboozle the whole other team. Like, I could do what I wanted, and, like, you can't...
And that's the thing, I don't want to pay extra to play as heroes and villains.
Yeah.
And I don't want to have to grind so much to play as a hero and villain. Because chances are, EA games, look, I'm an adult, I got shit to do. I'll probably play your shitty Battlefront game for 3 days, get bored with it, and never pick it back up again.
Yeah.
I'm not forking over $20 to unlock Darth Vader.
The issue is, like, I have
Fuck you, I'm not buying your game. I have classic 2005 Battlefront 2 on my computer.
Can you still multiplayer that online? Or
I don't know.
Probably not. We can probably...
I have arcade
This gotta
mode.
be...
Battlefront 2005 arcade mode, Galactic Conquest. You don't need anything else.
We could probably... I don't know. We could probably find somewhere online where they're still running servers somewhere. I said somewhere like 8 times in that sentence. But
I will say this about the original Battlefront. Anytime you unlock Darth Maul, you won. Darth Maul was OP as fuck.
My only issue with the original Battlefront 2 was that they thought somehow it was a good idea to put Ewoks in that. I hated that.
Oh, and you can kill them too. It's funny.
Well, yeah, because you can play as the Ewoks and you're just throwing rocks at stormtroopers like one-hit kills.
I don't remember that.
It was a game mode. Like, it was a specific game mode, and it was like stormtroopers versus Ewoks. And it was stupid, because Ewoks are stupid, and I'll forever hate them, and if you think otherwise, good for you, you're wrong. I'm not going to say you're wrong, but you are wrong.
I don't mind the Ewoks.
I hated the Ewoks, like, there would not be an episode, like, whatever one, 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, 8, and 9, if it weren't for the stupid teddy bears on the moon helping them. The entire new trilogy is dependent on these teddy bears thinking, oh, hey, let's make these weird advanced traps that our tribal state shouldn't be able to do that somehow have these logs break galactic metal steel. Like, no.
That's racist, Brad.
Were they, like, and then, I'm pretty sure, I don't know if this is right, but, like, you told me they were supposed to be, like, Wookiees instead.
There's supposed to be Wookiees,
but Ewoks would sell better as toys, and that just makes me even more mad.
Yeah,
because I'm just so upset.
The idea of them being Wookiees makes so much more sense.
Well, it wouldn't, though, because then the Death Star would have had to been near... Well, unless they just weren't on the planet, who I can't say because I keep messing up. Kashyyyk. Yeah, I keep saying Khajiit, and that's like, that's not right. That's a cat.
That's a cat.
Speaking of Skyrim...
Where's if you have the coin?
Didn't they released Skyrim for the Switch?
Yeah.
I don't understand why... I'm changing the topic completely. Why... Like, that's awesome. I could take Skyrim with me wherever I go if I didn't hate Nintendo and I'm totally not buying a Switch. And there's motion controls. But why Bethesda thinks they can charge full price for a game I can buy for $20 is just stupid. Like, I guess, yes, they paid money to port it, but, I mean... If you want people... I don't think it's...
Here's the thing. The average person is an idiot.
Yeah.
And video game companies know how to...
I'm actually worried that they're not, because that'd be the problem if people weren't idiots, because they're releasing these games for full price and no one's going to buy them, because, like, I can just wait for it to go on sale here and it'll be way cheaper. And so no one will buy the third-party games for the Switch, and it'll fail, and then no one else will try, even though it's a fantastic idea. But since all the Bethesda's, because they're doing Skyrim, they're doing Doom, like, they're doing the porting right now. I don't know who makes LA Noire, but there's no reason no one should have ever thought that, like, oh man, this game didn't do well on other consoles, let's put it on the Switch. No one's going to pay $65 for that game.
Question. On Steam, I know that when the BioShock collection came out, if you owned the BioShock games in Steam, it automatically updated to match the remasters. Did Skyrim do the same thing when the Skyrim Special Edition came out last year?
I want to say yes, but only if you had a specific version of Skyrim.
Because
I think if you had the special edition, they gave you the legendary edition, or vice versa, whichever one they're called. Because I know that I had Skyrim, and I didn't have the right kind, and I didn't get it, and I had to buy it.
Because I bought Skyrim on Steam, but I also bought the special edition for Xbox One when it came out. Yeah. That's the weird thing, is that I'll forget just what all the games I have on Steam, and I'll rebuy them for console, and then I'll go look at my Steam library and be like, oh, I didn't know
I have bought Skyrim 3 times. 1 for PC, not Steam.
I have.
One for PlayStation, and then my computer crashed, and now again for PC with Steam.
I have it once.
Right,
I got it for Christmas a few years ago from a friend of mine, and I got it for my 360.
People keep...
Then my 360 fell and messed up one of the cords. I just got to buy a new cord, and I haven't bought it.
People rag on, like, oh, they're releasing Skyrim again. I was like, let's be fair. The average player has not done half the stuff you can do in Skyrim. Like, I put a ton of hours in it, and I'm still, at this point, I'm, like, randomly... Yeah, there's just so many things, like, I decided I'm going to do something different. I'm going to play as a half-orc. I'm going to do, like, melee. I don't usually do that. And I was just walking, and suddenly there's these orcs, like, we're being killed by giants. And so I killed the giants. Next thing I know, I'm on a quest for the orc god, and I end up getting this badass hammer. I was like, how did I never find this before? And, like, it's just... There's so much stuff. Like, I was playing with Dakota, and I was like, I'm just going to pick a place. I'm going to walk in the direction, first place I'd go. I'm going to do that. And I walked to this tiny little house. And normally if there's those houses, if you get a quest, it's like, oh, I need some carrots. Or, like, find my bunny. Or some weird stuff like that. And next thing, I went in the house. I found a secret lever. And there's just this maze underground I get lost in with these bandits fighting each other. And I just love that in Skyrim. There's just so much stuff.
That's one of the cool things I realized. Because I had a bunch of multiple profiles on different systems. I had a game on my Xbox. I had a game on Josh's Xbox. I had a game on your PlayStation 3. I had a game on my laptop. And I believe I had a game on Josh's laptop. And then my new game on Xbox One. And when I bought the Special Edition, I was running into things and events that I had never found before on any of the other games I'd played. And so it made me think, did they add more?
Who knows?
For the Special Edition? Or one thing that's weird is you get the 2 DLCs for this game. It's Dawnguard.
Yeah, and the DLCs,
can't remember the other one, Dragonborn.
Yeah, they change a lot of stuff when you get those.
And that's the weird thing too, is because, and I don't know if this happened in anyone else's game, but in my game for Special Edition, besides the main story quest, one of the first side quests that came up for me was Dawnguard and Dragonborn. And the thing was, I didn't know that those were the DLC yet. And so I started doing them, and I was like, maybe I should hold off on this. Because Dragonborn kind of pissed me off.
I never did it.
Because I killed the dragon. And the thing that sucks is that and the reason I hate that one came up so early is because at random points, the dude from that DLC, that's also a Dragonborn, will show up whenever you kill a dragon. Depending on how many dragons you've killed, he can pop up at random and absorb the soul of the dragon you've killed. And I'm like, well, this sucks.
Oh, I kind of nope out of there when the dragons attack.
I've killed plenty dragons.
I don't know.
I love fighting dragons. It's fun.
I don't ever bother with it. My only issue is that...
I found a dragon fighting a mammoth once.
Oh, I purposely leave them there so they'll leave me alone. My problem with the Dawnguard DLC is, like, you'll walk into a town and sometimes just vampires will be there attacking people. And sometimes you're just not ready and they just destroy you. Or they'll kill shopkeepers, and because Skyrim was set up to have this thing where if a shopkeeper died, a new random NPC would come take over. But they never implemented that, so if shopkeepers die, you just can't buy stuff anymore. And so they'll kill important NPCs and not a dang thing you can do about it. Because in other other Elder Scrolls, if the NPC died, they'd just be unconscious, they'd get back up. In Skyrim, they're set to die because someone's supposed to replace them, but no one replaces them, so people just die. Like, I was in Riften, and you have this, like, square where all the shopkeepers are. And I was like, hey, the sword, someone gave me a quest reward, now I'm over encumbered, so I dropped the sword. I didn't know that could cause random events. Some random person goes, hey, I want that sword. And someone else goes, no, I want that sword. Next thing I know, all the shopkeepers are dead. They get killed by this one random lady. I can't buy stuff in that town anymore because that stupid system doesn't work.
That's hilarious.
And stupid Josh, he accidentally stole stuff because he doesn't steal stuff in video games, which is just boring. He accidentally stole something from this old lady once. It's like, oh no, so he just dropped it. The old lady picks it up and goes, you dropped this, Sonny, and gave it to him and didn't kind of stole it anymore. I was like, this is bullcrap. Everyone I know died when that happened to me.
That's hilarious. I hate that about Josh. I hate the way Josh plays video games. I remember I played the game Infamous. Yeah. The only reason I started playing that because I would watch Josh play it and yell at him because I'd be like, you're playing it wrong.
I think Dakota was playing Infamous and I was like, this is the most predictable storyline ever. He's like, no, it's not. And I was like, I will write down how this is going to end, and when you finish it, I will show it to you. And I wrote it down. He never finished the game, and we remembered. And so eventually he just looked up how it ended, and I showed it to him, and I was spot on. I knew exactly how it ended.
I don't remember it either.
The person that gave him the box to open was him from the future when everything went wrong. The girl, you had that one girl that's like, you're my ex-boyfriend. I'm like, no, I'm not. Yes, you are. That's because you are, just from a different timeline. And it was really obvious. And
wow, it's been like 5 years since I've played
that game. Did that game even really do that? The second one didn't do that well, did it? Did the second one do very well?
I don't know.
I haven't been keeping up with games. It's something I need
there's one thing in Skyrim I like to do where right outside of Whiterun there's that guard tower. I like to run over by the giants and get one of the giants' attention and lead them to that guard tower and make the guards fight the giant.
I remember in Oblivion, the guards would take off their armor and go to their inventory when they went to sleep, because guards... That's something interesting about Skyrim, even though there's only like 4 character models and 4 voice actors, so you'd have people talking to themselves. They followed really normal patterns, even the guards. Like, there were a specific number of guards at any given time instead of just infinitely regenerating. And they would take shifts and sleep in the tower, and I would sneak up there and pickpocket their armor, and so I just had a bunch of naked guards walking around the town.
Jeez.
At this point now, I'll sneak and just I'll walk up and my sneak is so high, I'll kill a guard and then just put my weapon away, stand up, and the guard will walk up to the guard like, do you know what happened? And he'll turn around, I'll stab him, and eventually I just have this pile of guards that just keep trying to investigate what's going on.
In Oblivion, I stripped naked and only had my fists to fight.
Dude,
in the game.
I was gonna say, are you sure you haven't done that in
real
life?
What you should do is go up the heavy armor skill tree where your unarmed damage is equal to your gloves, so you can be naked but wearing heavy gloves and just be killing people.
But I'm not sure how I survived this, but I did something and ended up, I think, with at least 15 to 20 guards after me. I killed 10 of them with my bare fist before dying.
It's like playing the first Fable.
Yeah. And the
best part was, go to Oakvale and just kill everyone.
And as when my character finally died and it does that bird's eye view, character's completely naked. I look like King Leonidas at the end of 300. There's like hundreds of arrows sticking out of me. And the rest of the guards that are still, and there's bodies everywhere. The rest of the guards are still shooting me with arrows and hitting me with swords.
I miss games you could do that. Like in the original Fable, you could buy real estate, but there was no good way to do it. You had to be evil. Because people didn't move out. If you killed them, you could buy their house. So every game, at one point when I was strong enough, I would just go in and just mass murder everyone there. Buy all the houses while the guards are shooting arrows at me and walk away, and eventually people just forget. And I walk back in like, oh, our landlord's here, yay.
My game of Fable was very, very sweet and sentimental.
I
bought my old family's house in Oakvale.
And it's just kind of from there. Oh, third one's okay.
In the first Fable, I bought the house that the boy lives in Oakvale.
I think it's Oakvale.
I bought that house.
This is my nostalgia
family
game.
In Oakvale.
Fable 1 in black and white.
I married.
Oh my God, black and white.
I married that woman.
That rich woman.
I can't remember her name, but she kills her sister.
You find that out in the second one.
No, that's in Lost Chapters.
Oh, you know what? You're right. I just remember it wasn't in the original game.
Yeah.
It was in Lost Chapters. That's right.
Because there's that whole subplot of, will you keep it a secret? Will you tell people?
Yeah.
I kept it a secret.
I killed her to begin with, so it didn't matter.
I kept it a secret. I married her. I killed Whisper in the arena.
So you had to fight Thunder then.
Mm-hmm. I fucked Thunder up. And that was the thing. That was the most petty I've ever been in a video game, because at the beginning of the game when you're still training,
oh man,
Thunder talks shit to you.
Yeah.
And I held that grudge that entire week. You
want to talk petty or vain.
So I killed Whisper, married his woman, and then killed him. Take that, Thunder.
In that game, you age as you level up.
Oh yeah.
And it's annoying.
It's hilarious.
It's so weird because you're the only person that ages. So
by the time I was
you're like this big, I'm gonna kill you.
The thing was, by the time I got to the prison where my mother was being held, I was already an 80-year-old man, and she was still just this 40-year-old, 50-year-old woman.
Here's the thing: is like there's the places, right? You max out at age 60, but you can go to the temples, and if you know what to do, eventually you can get the gods to bless you with these weapons. And what a lot of people don't realize is one of the other blessings that you can get one time is they take, I think, 20 years off your age. Mm-hmm. And so, this is the stupidest thing I've ever done. Before the first quest where you kill the wasp, I maxed out everything. I maxed out all of my skills before the first quest. And so I was 60 years old just so I could go to the temples and get 20 years off twice. And so I was walking around as a 20-year-old maxed out again. I'm that vain. I just didn't want the gray hair. That's well, great. And I could. The thing is, though, I never did finish that game because, like, I'm going into, like, these really hard bosses, but I'm already done. So I'm like, poof, and he just explodes. Like, that was fun.
I think I finished Fable. Fable the Lost Chapters ends differently, doesn't it?
It just keeps going. Well, it keeps going. You find out Jack isn't quite dead and he comes back as a dragon.
That's it, yeah. I don't think I finished that part, but I finished the main thing. I don't think I finished the dragon part. Because you wind up in that island that's like very misty, right?
Yeah, because
icy.
They mention that island, like you can actually.
I might have
if you notice, that island was always supposed to be in the game. The very first quest that you can never actually get, because once you qualify for it, it just disappears. Is for that place.
Oh, okay, cool.
Oh, another fun thing, because the level up. We're just talking about random stuff, but I'm gonna go with this anyways. To level up everything, there's certain spells you can only get if you're good, and certain spells you can only get if you're evil. So I leveled up everything I could, and then just went in and murdered everyone so I was evil and leveled up that spell. And then to be good, there's certain things you can eat that change stuff, like give you more experience in one thing, make you good, make you evil. Tofu was one of them, make you good for whatever reason. So I just ate a ton of tofu, and so I was good. But I was also like 200 pounds because that actually matters in that game, so I couldn't run. So I was this huge guy in heavy armor waddling around because I had filled up on tofu. But like, I'm good now, teach me the good spells. It was really stupid.
I kind of want to play Fable now that we've been talking about it.
We'll do a Let's Play.
I've always
of the first
to
Fable
play
game.
Fable.
We should do a Let's Play of the first Fable game. I'll do a speed run of the original Kingdom Hearts.
Jesus.
Because I've done it a few times.
We can do a speed run of Fable 3.
I'm pretty sure I was hanging out.
Yeah, you watched the whole thing.
Everyone.
That was when I was playing Neopets. Oh, yeah.
Fable 3 is a speed run at regular speed.
Yeah, well, it's got that whole after game thing, which isn't great, but I liked it.
I think they really rely too much.
Dude,
on
Fable 3. The funny thing about Fable 3 is like you can play as a girl or a guy.
Michael Fassbender's in Fable 3, right? Or is that Fable 2?
I don't know.
Hashtag sold.
You can play as a girl or a guy in Fable 3.
Hashtag
sold.
And
when you can just multiplay, you can just drop in. But I multiplayed before I had made an account for my character, and so Josh was playing as a male. It just automatically put me as the opposite, and it saves your stuff if you're multiplaying. Anything you do there carries over loot wise, and so I had to play the whole game stuck as the female character because I actually watched the difference. She's like a way better voice actor than the male guy was. Like she had a lot more like just attitude towards everything.
Sack. That's Link.
Yeah, I was like, okay, that's great. Okay, where we at? We're like an hour 40 minutes into this.
Oh, see, we're not doing too bad.
We got anything else to talk about?
I don't know. I expected your rant to go on a lot longer.
I just gotta burn out on it.
I just like you're just so I don't even care anymore.
If we would have recorded this like Friday,
the day that we decided to start doing this,
the day that we were talking about this, it would have been better.
You were just so mad at EA. I miss Battlefront, but you know
and that's the thing.
I went through all my notes.
I'm pissed about Battlefront.
Stop hitting the table.
I can't help it. I'm pissed about Battlefront.
People go like deaf.
I'm because I really do. I don't understand why it's so hard to fuck up this badly twice. Especially considering the standard that classic Battlefront and Battlefront 2 set, and yet they still haven't reached that level that those two games were at.
If they just have a handful of people, just like they're called whales, just put everything they have into unlocking those loot boxes, like money-wise, it's going to pay for the game, and so they can do it again. That's the issue.
And that's the thing, is that EA games...
That's like,
games are made for the consumer, not for the shareholder.
Yeah, well, it's like those stupid games like Clash of Clans. You know, they're never going to sponsor us now if we ever wanted to.
And that's the thing,
but, you know, they have, like... There was, like, a millionaire that put, like, $2 million into that game just buying stuff so he could pay to win. And that's all it takes for them to do that kind of stuff.
And that's the thing, for apps and free-to-play games, microtransaction, pay to win, loot boxes, things like that.
I think the issue is that
isn't bad.
Yeah, well, the issue is that you think, oh, I spent $60 on this game, but it's like, let's be fair, like, the way the economy is, like, we should be paying more for those games, but they don't think they can get away with it. They really are losing money, and so they need some way to keep up. I just feel like they handled it in the most money in the most questionable way they could have done it.
Yeah, another thing is that microtransactions are fine if it's cosmetic or if it's just it's as long as it's not content that's required for the game.
Yeah, well, yeah, it's like sometimes it can be like convenience, and I'm fine with that. Like in Guild Wars, you could buy harvesting tools like mining or gardening and whatever the other one was. Mm-hmm. You could buy something that wouldn't break, so you didn't have to keep buying more with in-game money, and like that's fine. Like all you're doing is just saving me time. It doesn't really cost that much in-game money to buy, and it's like it's things like that I was fine with. I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm like the biggest ArenaNet fanboy there is, and I hate Guild Wars 2. But still, the microtransactions aren't bad. Oh no. I haven't got into Destinies. This doesn't really seem worth it
but
either.
Just in a AAA video game like Battlefront 2 that is reliant on online cooperative play and offline cooperative play as well, giving players the advantage to pay to win, you need a more balanced playing field when it comes to online multiplayer, especially if your entire game's built around that model.
Yeah, well, I mean, like I said, all they have to do is have a few people just throw it into it.
I'm pissed off that I can't play and enjoy Battlefront without some asshole.
Why don't we just anyone listening to this, not very likely, but anyone listening to this, just make a game that's just the same basic premise of Battlefront and just make it not Star Wars. It'd be great. Everyone will love it. I mean,
Battleland.
But at the end of the day, we still do have one good Star Wars Battlefront 2.
Yeah, I never played the first one. Let's see.
And that's all I have to say about that.
Yeah. Unless we want to go more nostalgic, because I'm in that mode. Talk about how crap Kingdom Hearts is.
Kingdom Hearts. Shine away.
Well, I think that's it. If we can't think of anything immediately, we'll just go ahead and wrap this up. I'm sure we'll be like, oh man, I forgot to talk about this. We'll talk about it next time, and then not record something
I don't have
another
anything
4
left
weeks.
to talk about. So
I have to leave for work in 4 hours.
That's gross.
Heck.
I still get to sleep a little bit because I don't have to go in until super, super late. A nice little fill-in. William does movies, and not just kind of like haha fun little movies. Like he's really seriously doing short films and stuff like that.
If you want to
shameless self-plug.
Shameless self-plug. Besides being a part of this podcast, I'm also co-producer for O Lantern Productions. You can look us up on YouTube, check out our short films, give us a subscribe. We'd really appreciate it. So thank you for your time. Thank you for your money.
On the flip side,
pay $19.95 to unlock the outro.
Pay this much money. Here, give me just a second.
If you work at EA Games,
please
get your shit together.
Here it comes again.
Oh, Lord.
Anthem looks cool, except it's published by EA Games.
It's in the game.
Fuck you.
Or challenge everything.
We're pretty much just done right by now. So
yeah,
this isn't going okay.
Yeah, Brad is setting up.
I'm doing things I should have already done. Okay, so
Brad, I was gonna say if you set up a Facebook page, I'll put it on my massive list of other Facebook pages that I admin.
I'll get to that later. For now, we're gonna wrap things up. If for whatever weird reason you want to contact us, send us something to talk about. I literally just now set up some stuff.
Literally, I just watched him do it.
You can email us at nerdlykingdom@gmail.com or hit us on Twitter at _nerddom. It's NERDOM. Yeah, if I spelt that right, I'm dyslexic, so you guys might want to double check. I spelled these things right.
Oh my god!
Look at us.
Sometimes you win, sometimes you underscore.
My brother has Rogue in his Gmail name, but I spelled it Rouge.
Oh, I do that all the time.
But yeah. So nerdlykingdom at Gmail and at _nerddom.
We're on Twitter.
We're on Twitter, and I'm actually for whatever reason I did Toto _McG MCG.
If you
my
just
handle.
Want to email
you can
Brad
follow me on Instagram because I don't have Twitter and Facebook.
William's
my Twitter name
kid.
is @TheWilliamBell.
I've literally never used my Twitter. But maybe I'll start actually recording games again. I have like 4 or 5 episodes recorded. And I'm like, I'll edit them eventually. This is my voice I use for everyone.
You can also follow me on Snapchat. Not really, though.
Alright, no, I think that's everything. It is for me. I'm done. I've got to deal with all this stuff in post I've never done before.
Yay,
so,
editing.
Yeah.
Thanks for joining us.
Yeah.
And we apologize.
Once again, if you missed the names, Brad, a.k.a. Toto McGillicuddy.
Lori, a.k.a. Lori Artie.
William, a.k.a. William, a.k.a. the dude.
I was about to say,
God bless.
You're being inconsistent here. Alright, yep, that's it. At some point, I'm going to turn this off. Thanks for listening. If you made it this far, well done. Jesus.
Follow us.
Yeah, for real. I mean, like...
#true fans.
For real.
We need the validation of every person.
We need your love.
We need a club for people that are willing to listen to, like, what, 2 hours on this? I've actually got a stopwatch going. Yeah, a minute.
We need your likes. We need your subscriptions.
Yeah, what are we putting? We don't even know what platform we're putting this on. Probably all of them. So,
but if you're hearing it, you already know.
That's true. If we're on YouTube, like, subscribe, comment. Don't even care if it's trolling, hate stuff. You can go ahead and do that.
If you subscribe, you can one day listen to me bitch in detail about Transformers.
I'm gonna set up a thing. No, we didn't even get to Transformers. I'm gonna set up a thing where you literally just rant into a mic. I'm gonna do it, and you're gonna like it. Actually, you're not gonna like it. You're gonna rant about it too. You're gonna have a channel ranting about your channel. I'm stalling again.
What we need to do is I need to sit here, watch the Transformers movies in front of the mic,
well,
and
the good thing is you can just sign off, and none of this can be in it.
I love that idea so much. No,
I'm
not editing any of this. This is staying in.
He'll be like,
we can have special episodes where it's
you're giving me way too much credit.
William watches a movie and bitches about it.
I love that idea.
Shia LaBeouf, except being proud of seeing what's on screen, you're just gonna complain.
Yeah. Shia LaBeouf. All right, and on that note, I'm done. See you guys. Thanks.
Peace, Reese's Pieces.